how did they make wine before electricity?
Right.
How did they make wine before computers? How did they make wine before sophisticated chemistry
labs, yeah.
equipment?
Howdy, Vine Trippers. I wanted to take just a moment before the show begins to tell you a little bit about the Texas Wine Lover website and app. It is a definite must-have for anyone wanting to explore the Texas wine industry. Now, they have a website. It's txwinelover.com, but they also have an app that you can actually download to your phone. You can find it on the Apple App Store or on the Google Play Store for Android devices. And it's going to be kind of your one-stop shop for when you go out to visit these great places. So you get to listen to them here on the podcast or watch them on YouTube to learn about these wineries. But when you go to visit, make sure you're checking out that app, because I'm sure you're probably going to want to visit other places in the area as well. And you can do incredible searches. It's the most comprehensive listing of winery information in Texas. And you can look for wineries in your area to go visit multiple places. You can sort those listings by finding out ones that are kid-friendly, maybe some that are pet-friendly. If you want to look for events or things that are going on, if you want to find those that can host RVs, just about any category you can think of, you can actually sort those listings and find wineries around you to go visit. The app is free to use for you and I. So it's a perfect, again, hand-in-hand tool when you're going out to visit wineries. Listen to them on this podcast, watch them on YouTube, and then start making your plans to go visit and use the Texas Wine Lover app when you go. Now, it can also be a great tool. Maybe you're not even looking for a winery. You just happen to be traveling to some place in Texas, and you just might think, I've got a little extra time. I wonder if there are any wineries in the area. You can actually look them up in the Texas Wine Lover app. You can search either by the name of a winery, or it's got a map view. So you can actually pull up a map of the area around you and see locations of wineries near you and go visit them and support the Texas wine industry. So you got to use the Texas Wine Lover app. It goes perfectly with this podcast. So make sure you check it out before you go on your next trip among the vines. Again, it's www.txwinelover.com, or look up the Texas Wine Lover app on your favorite phone app store and make sure you get that downloaded and use it frequently. You will benefit from it, and ask for Texas wines. Let's see the Texas wine industry prosper and go visit some of these fun places that I'm bringing to you on the show. Texas Under Vine, an exploratory podcast to scout out the best Texas wine country has to offer. I'm your wine guide, Scott, and I'm here to lead you on an auditory expedition to the vineyards and wineries across the great Lone Star State. Each episode will cover a different vineyard, winery, or wine-related business operating in Texas. You'll hear interviews, descriptions, and details about each location that will excite you to visit and experience them for yourself. Ready to plan a wine tour? Use these episodes to choose the most interesting spots for you and your friends to check out. Most of all, enjoy hearing about the rapidly growing wine industry in the state and what makes our wines and wineries the best. There as part of that project. And as part of this vineyard, both he and Ryan, his son, are committed to sustainability. They avoid harmful pesticides and toxins and things like that with the grapes. They really try to focus on letting the vine go through its natural life cycle in the vineyard. Now, does that mean that he's going to lose some vines here and there and have to replant? Yep. That's been part of the life cycle of some of the vines. Some have done better than others. You'll hear more about that in the interview. But he really believes on being as minimalist with things like like that so that the grapes really followed their natural life cycle. And so when he was first getting started, he sought out some books on how was wine made throughout the years, way before we had electricity and modern chemistry and things like that. What's the really old school way of making wine? And as part of that philosophy, he basically says that if a winemaker doesn't know what to do with a wine, then don't do anything at all. It's a very old school philosophy on the way he tries to handle his wines. And as part of that, they do not filter their wines. They use a slow racking process that really helps to preserve the natural colors, the flavors, and the viscosity that nature intended in those grapes that will become that amazing wine. And as part of that same philosophy, they don't use any kind of pumps or things like that when they're taking wine from the barrels and bottling. They use a gravity-based system, and they use some siphons to be able to get the wine from the barrel to the bottle. They want to reduce as much motion as possible because Gary really believes that that is a major enemy of wine. So he wants to reduce anything that could harm the wine's natural development. And as part of their commitment to sustainability, they're the only LEED certified winery for sustainability in the state of Texas. And Gary is using the power of geothermal energy, solar panels, rainwater harvesting, and things like that to be able to make this winery hopefully stay completely off the grid. His goal is to eventually, in the next few years, to put enough in that they can completely operate totally self-sustainable. And they really believe in long barrel aging. So Gary likes to leave the wines relatively untouched as much as possible in the barrels for anywhere from 6 to 12 years even, to be able to allow that wine to really reach its peak and to hit that point where it tastes best. So you're not having to age the wine on your own after you buy it. It's already ready to go at its best state. Now, I got to sit down with Gary and talk to him a little bit about his love for architecture, sustainability. He really has a passion for trains, and that's where the name Caboose came from, which you'll find out later, and his dedication to producing old world style Texas wine. All right, here's Gary McKibben, owner and winemaker at Red Caboose Winery. Howdy, Vine Trippers. Welcome to Red Caboose Winery. And I'm here with Gary McKibben, the owner and winemaker, and we'll find out about architect in a moment, of this particular winery. And so we got a lot of really cool and interesting things to share about their vineyard, about sustainability, and about this winery itself and what they've been doing here. So without further ado, let's turn our attention to Gary and find out a little bit about his story. Gary, tell me a little bit about your history with wine. How did you get started in this crazy industry?
Well, that's a good word to use. It was kind of a crazy start. I bought a ranch just to get out of Dallas on the weekends. And my son was away playing hockey, and he decided to come home. And I said, well, come down to the ranch and help me. And we toured around the ranch, and there were just mega grapes and all the oak trees. So we just decided, well, let's just for fun plant some grapes. That's how it started.
Okay.
20,000 vines and 19.6 acres later, you know, we're here where we are today.
Wow, 20 acres.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's
now,
a lot.
some of them we're having difficulty right now because we practice sustainability, so we don't spray pesticides, we don't spray harmful toxins. So
Okay.
the vines just go through a natural life cycle, and they lasted a little over 20 years. And so now next spring we're going to be in a replanting mode. So
Yeah.
But the interesting thing about that is we found out we had 13 varietals when we started.
Okay.
And we found out which 3 varietals are the strongest in this particular terroir.
Okay.
Yeah, it was pretty interesting.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Well, so you've got almost 20 acres of grapes planted here. Do you suffer, I would think, so here we are in Meridian. Do you suffer from a lot from Pierce's disease here? Is that what attacks the vines the most?
No,
what are
we
the
haven't
things
had
that-
any evidence of Pierce's
Really?
disease. Yeah.
That's great.
We did have anthracnose in our Blanc de Bois, and we ended up taking those out because
Okay.
we have to spray too many chemicals in this area right here to keep those healthy. So we kind of narrowed it down to the varietals that sustained themselves naturally. And that was a very good exercise. It took us years to do that. But a lot of things, the heat is really tough. Grapes don't like it when it's really hot, and getting enough water to them is really important.
Okay.
And of course, you know, just using natural sprays. We spray oil
Okay.
We don't spray. We spray stylet oil, and that it has been very beneficial. But you have to stop spraying that when it gets 95 degrees because it'll burn the vines otherwise. But
Yeah.
we've had really good success with spraying oil.
Interesting.
Yeah, and it's natural, so
Yeah.
it's. I mean, you can spray it the day before you pick. You could probably put it on your salad. It's a natural product. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, I'm sure that you didn't start off by saying, let's plant 20 acres of vine. So I'm sure
Oh,
it
no.
probably grew over time.
Yeah.
So,
First year we planted 100 vines just to see how they did, and they did very well.
okay.
Did very well. And of course, I still had my practice. I'm an architect. I still had my practice in Dallas, so I was commuting back and forth. So I didn't want a big obligation down here right off the bat.
Right.
So
Farming's a lot of work.
Yeah, it really is, especially in this rock. We're primarily rock.
Okay.
And so we gradually added to that. It took us about 5 years to get up to 20 acres.
Okay.
But it was a good process, and my son was helping me with that. And then that was really good. Good father and son project. A lot of work. But anyway.
23 years ago, you said?
Yeah, 23 years ago.
So about
03. We did it in 03.
Okay.
Yeah. And then we opened to the public in 05.
05. Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
So we've done real well. We've grown all our own grapes up till now, and that's been very beneficial. So we know we had to practice sustainability. Well, our winemaking is a sustainable process. Our growing grapes is a sustainable process. We don't filter our wines.
Okay.
So therefore, we don't want to spray pesticides
Yeah.
or we don't want to spray toxins on our vines. So we use a natural process. Some of these wines here, in fact, we just pulled out 9 barrels here last week, and they were 12 years old.
Wow.
They were in oak for 12 years. I still got 2011 and 29 in oak right now.
Really?
Yeah. Now, the good news is it goes through a natural process and it becomes very good wine. The bad news is we lose half the barrel because we seal the barrels, we don't top up.
Yeah.
And we've lost about half of them. But man, the 2010 that we pulled out was unbelievable. And we just bottled that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know if you know Dan at Robert Clay Vineyard in Mason, but in my interview with him, he talked about how he had read somewhere from France, I think it was a winemaker in France, who talked about how he said there's something magic that happens with a wine in the barrel at the 6th year. If you can wait to get to at least 6 years, something really magic happens with the wine. And he said he talked to people about that, and everybody was saying, 6 years? You can't leave it in there 6 years. It's crazy. And he said, he kind of dug his feet in the ground and said, no, I'm going to do this. So he ages all of his at least 6 or 7 years. He's got long barrel aging as well. And it sounds like you're experiencing some of the same thing.
Yeah, we don't bottle anything. We don't take anything out of the barrel before 6 or 7 years. In fact, we're pouring 07 Syrah right now.
Wow.
We still have 07 Syrah. In fact, I've got some barrels of 09 Syrah right around the corner here.
That's cool.
And the interesting thing about not topping up is it creates a vacuum in there. And when you pop the bung, it just goes, you can tell there's a vacuum in there because it's losing oxygen. And the wine is becoming more and more mature, and it's marrying up. The longer it's in there, the better it gets. Yeah. Now, the only time we've had a real incident was with Syrah also. I bought used French barrels.
Okay.
They'd been used one time for 1 year.
Yeah.
Out of California. I'll never do that again. And that wine went bad, but it took 7 years for it to go bad.
Interesting.
Yeah. And we take that. We also have a distillery, so we're gonna distill that.
Okay.
Distill that wine.
Yeah.
So
great spirits.
yes. Yeah.
Okay.
It does makes great spirits. We're small school, we're family owned, we're old world, we're just basic.
Yeah.
And we decided early on, let's try this and let's learn the basics, and then we'll evolve from there. And we really haven't evolved very much. We went through.
Find something that works.
Yeah. Well, you can see on the barrel there, it says profile. There's like 50 or 60 different profiles on toast.
Okay. Yeah.
The way that your barrels were toasted. And so we went through a couple dozen different ones with the same varietal over a period of years to find out which one gave us the same flavor or the best flavor that we really enjoyed. and we picked one profile and we stuck with that profile.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's been a worker for you.
it's been a worker. It works really well. So that's that process. The other thing that we do is we don't pump our wine out of our barrels because, you know, in layman's terms, the tannins, phenols, polyphenols, all of that, they marry in the barrels, and motion will disturb that.
Okay.
It will undo to a certain degree. If you're going to pump it out, it doesn't like to be pumped. When you pump it out, it disturbs what actually happened, and we're leaving it in there for 6 to 10, 12 years. Why would we want to disturb it? Right. So we siphon it out. And I've made a little siphon that's really cool. It works like a champ, and we can siphon it out.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, yeah. So that's something that we do that's different. And again, that's kind of a flavor added process without adding any chemicals or anything to the wine. It's just how you handle it and how you process it. Yeah. And you know that there's 4 things that'll ruin wine, and one of them's motion. And when we bottle it, we don't pump it in through our bottler either. We put our tote up high, so it's gravity. Okay. So we gravity bottle fill. But even though we do that, squirting it through the little injectors into the bottle, and it doesn't like that. Yeah. And so that's why it goes through that bottle phase. But our bottling phase, our bottle shock phase, is very minimal because we treat our wines very, very gently.
Delicately, yeah.
And it takes time, takes money, you know, to do that, but it's the right way to do it.
That's a very old world style.
It's old world style. It's been working for thousands of years.
So, okay, so you start this vineyard, and then a couple of years later, you decide, okay, let's go ahead and we got all this fruit. Let's go ahead and make some wine, and let's go ahead and open up a tasting room. That was your next step in the process, huh?
Yes. Yeah.
All right.
We experimented that first year in making wine, and we were real happy with the results. My son and I. And so then we decided, well, let's build a small winery. Well, it wasn't a small winery. We built a pretty large building, and then we added on to it the cellar. We added on later on. Yeah, but yeah, we're about sustainability and old. We make old world style wine. Yeah. In fact, the interesting story. When we first got into this, okay, right after we planted our first 100 vines, we decided we need to learn from the experts. Okay. So the symposium is in Sacramento. Okay. It's every year. So we decided, let's go out there, spend a week out there, go to the symposium, talk to all the experts, learn a whole bunch of stuff. So we go out there, we had fun, and we learned a lot.
Okay.
We learned a lot.
That's good.
But then I got over our head. We're just newbies. We're just starting out in this. And so on the airplane coming back, we had these bags full of all kinds of information. And I go, son, how much of this did you understand? And he said, some of it.
What are we going to do with all this?
So we're flipping through there. I go, look at this word. It's this long. It doesn't have very many vowels in it. I can't pronounce it. I can't spell it. What does it mean? So I go, let's go back even earlier than this. So I got home, set all that information aside, went to the half-price bookstore, and I went in there. I said, I want the oldest book you have on enology, winemaking, viticulture. I want the oldest books you have. Yeah. Because how did they make wine before electricity? Right. How did they make wine before computers? How did they make wine before sophisticated chemistry labs, equipment? And so we wanted to know the basics. Yeah. Okay. Now we learned that in Russia, not too many years ago, they discovered vats in the ground, and they estimate that the wine that was stored in there was 7,000 years ago. So wine's been around a long time. And we wanted to know the basics. And we learned that you go with what nature gives you, and that's what we do. We grow the grapes. We grow quality grapes. That's the key. We make wine. We don't put anything in it except for yeast. That's it. Yeah. And so our wines are very old world style wines. And when people come here and taste our wines, they recognize that. Okay. They know there's something different about our wines. First of all, the viscosity. Our wine is thicker. It's not flabby. It's not thin wine. It's old world style wine. And right now I've got 12 barrels of port that has been in port since 25. 2005.
Yeah.
It's been in there. So it's been in there for
That's a 20-year port.
21 years. And it's great. We tasted I did some robbing for our last wine club and they loved it. It was unbelievable. So old world style, you don't have to have all the bells and whistles to produce good wine. Yeah. And we do it the old fashioned way. And we advertise that we make old world wines.
Yeah. So did you, in '05, when you opened the tasting room, was that the time when you decided, okay, I need to retire and do this full time? Or were you still working both ways, living in Dallas and coming back and forth doing farming and the tasting room?
Yeah, I've still been an architect all these years.
Wow.
And I moved down here, I think in '05, I moved down here, but then I still commuted to Dallas.
Sure. You were the original remote worker at that point in time.
Exactly. And then the computers really got more sophisticated, so I could work here and, do things online. But there, in that process, when I went to the half price bookstore to get the old books, I learned really cool little tricks and quotes. And one of the quotes that I learned that I'll always remember: if you don't know what to do with your wine, don't do anything at all.
Okay.
And I think that's where winemakers, especially in Texas, winemakers want to fix their wine.
Yeah.
They want to filter it. They want to add things to it. They want to keep filtering it.
Adjust for acidity, adjust for all these things.
We don't do anything. We don't even filter our wine. And Benedict used to test all our wines, and Benny's just great. She's really, really fabulous. And when we told her we weren't filtering our wine, she goes, "What? You're not filtering your wine?" So I go, no, we're not. We rack them 3 or 4 times.
Yeah.
So it takes us 90 days to get to the barrel or more, as we rack them a minimum of 30 days per tank. And that's the clarification process that we go through. And we know before we put it in oak whether it's going to be a good wine or not. We focus primarily on red wines. And then there was another quote that I really liked, and it's perfect for here because it said, because of the pH and the soil terroir is so different in all over Texas, but here we're rocky and very alkaline. So they said, if you can plant corn, don't plant grapes. And I thought about that. And this is old timers. Yeah. These are old timers talking like this. And that was one of their quotes that they use. Yeah. So, because the soil conditions are completely different.
Water and
pH, everything completely different. So anyway, we kind of live by those standards.
Yeah.
And we're basically lazy. So, why hurry?
Well, I got to know, did you ever go back to all that stack of materials you got at the symposium and go back through and say, oh, that's what they meant? Or did you ever review those, or did they stay stuck in the corner?
The only time we used those was to find suppliers of equipment, barrels, things like
networking connections for things.
Exactly. We needed, when it came to the point where we had to start barrels. In fact, the first thing, this was really interesting. We do a Lenoir Tempranillo. It's a 50-50 blend. I think we were probably the first ones in Texas to do that 23 years ago. But the reason we did that is we had Tempranillo planted. We loved it. We had Lenoir planted. Turned out that's the strongest varietal I have for this area.
Yeah.
And we got 25 gallons of each when we made that wine. And we go, what are we going to do?
Right.
Oh, barrels, we can get a 53-gallon barrel if we just put them both in that barrel. Not really knowing the principle of winemaking, we just said, let's take a shot at it and see how it comes out. Came out fabulous. Yeah. We've been making it ever since.
Really?
Yeah.
That's become a standard.
It's become one of our standards.
What do we do?
Yeah.
I love that.
So anyway, it's been a learning process, but
yeah,
it's a basic process if you keep it basic. You can make it as complicated as you want, but it doesn't have to be.
Yeah, I like that. So is your son, Ryan, is he still working with you here with the winery?
He doesn't work so much here at the winery. He's got another job in Dallas, and he's got a family, but he does my compliance and all my government work and reporting and all that. And he comes down, and you've been talking to him. He schedules everything for me, so I don't have to do that. And that's a huge help.
Sure.
It's absolutely a huge help. So
he's still a family operation.
It's a family operation. Yep. We don't have any investors. We're just poor.
What if your entire summer was a guided tour through the best of the Texas Hill Country? I'm Wine Guide Scott, and I'm giving away a couple's pass to the inaugural Texas Hill Country Winery's Summer Season Pass. That's 3 full months of tastings and exclusive perks at over 35 premier wineries. A $100 value brought to you by Texas Hill Country Wineries. Explore the region at your own pace, from legendary estates to hidden gems. Enter now at texasundervine.com/giveaway. I'll announce the winner on May 29th. Cheers!
And it's been open 21 years for the tasting room here now. That's crazy. That's great.
Right.
What about the name Red Caboose Winery? Where did that come from?
That was another accident.
Okay.
I've had a lot of pleasant accidents along the way.
Yeah, those are great.
Well, I bought the ranch, and I'm a train buff.
Okay.
I collect trains. I've had trains since I was 3 years old, and so I've always wanted a caboose. When I was 5 years old, I got to ride on a caboose.
Yeah.
Because the train tracks went through our ranch, and the depot was actually on our ranch, and so I got to, long story, but I got to get on the caboose at the stockyards and ride up to the depot. That left a lasting impression in my mind, and I said, someday I'm going to own a caboose. And so when I bought the ranch, I go, perfect, let's get a caboose. And I looked and looked and looked, hard to find. I finally found one in a junkyard. And stopped, asked the guy what he was going to do with it. He says, I'm going to cut it up for scrap steel. And I go, oh, really? Well, because it was a mess. Didn't have the wheels, didn't have any glass in it. And every nasty word you can think of was spray painted on the outside of it. And so I said, well, how much is it worth in scrap steel? And back then it was a penny a pound.
Okay.
And so we calculated up how much that would be. And I go, well, I'll buy it for that if you move it to my ranch. And then you won't have to cut it up. You don't have to transport it.
Right.
You don't have to spend
One
money
flat
on it.
deal.
Yeah, one flat deal. He goes, really? And I goes, yeah, it's worth it. It's worth scrap steel to me. So I bought it. Then I had to go find wheels.
Oh, gosh.
The trucks. I had to buy 2 trucks, and I found those in a junkyard in Fort Worth.
Okay.
So, but then I had to have tracks.
Wow.
So I know why John Henry is a legend. That is hard work.
Yeah.
Driving those spikes into those ties. So I bought the ties. I bought the plates, I bought the spikes, I bought the rails.
Really?
I built that thing, 78 feet.
You built a mini railroad, right?
Yeah, I did. I have a mini railroad. And then I'm ready for the trucks. So I got a crane and got a trucking company to deliver my trucks for me, sit them on the track. Now I'm ready for the caboose.
Time to lift it.
Yeah, so the caboose was halfway between here and Dallas. And so we videoed that trip. We were in the pickup truck behind it. The guy that moved that welded a hitch on the front, put it on his semi-tractor, and welded axles to the back of it. And he drove that caboose down here like a semi-trailer. And I'm like, this guy's crazy. He was going 70 miles an hour, and of course he had to get.
Sure, people looking at it going down the road.
It was oversized, and he didn't have a pilot car, and it was crazy. And my son's hanging out the window like this video, and it's a crazy video.
That's awesome.
So, in fact, I need to get that out and put it up on the wall someplace.
Yeah.
But anyway, so get the caboose down here, and then we got to have 2 more cranes, and we set it on the trucks, and then the work came. Then I had to start remodeling it, but I made it into a cabin. It has a fireplace in it, restored as much of it as I could.
Really?
Started going to train shows and got the lanterns that fit on it.
So you pieced it together.
I pieced it back together, yeah. It's not totally done, but
Yeah.
I'm going to move it up here, and it's going to become part of the bed and breakfast.
Wow.
Yeah, it'll be up here. We're adding, you probably saw it coming in, we're adding a restaurant and a tasting room out front.
Okay.
And then the caboose will be out there, and we're doing another patio out there. So we'll have food and dining and things like that here.
The
Yeah.
whole locomotive.
Well, and we want to go off the grid.
Yeah.
So we want that restaurant, the winery, everything here to be off the grid. We already do geothermal. We've got 32 tons of geothermal. We generate our own electricity. We do shading coefficiencies. We're subterranean. This is subterranean. And so all we have to do is add, and I harvest rainwater. I keep 40,000 gallons of rainwater at all times. Yeah. And so we're going to add another 40 kV on the roof of electricity, and we'll go off the grid.
Wow.
And that's tough for a winery to do because
Sure.
during harvest there's a huge consumption of electricity. So we'll have to really pace ourselves
Yeah.
during that process.
The rainwater that you harvest, that's just what you use for irrigation, I presume?
Not so much irrigation because it takes 40,000 gallons to irrigate one time.
Wow.
So I do have a well, but we're going to cut
Okay.
back when we replant. We're cutting back our vineyard. We won't have 19.6 acres anymore. We'll cut back to maybe somewhere between 10 and 15.
Yeah.
So I can balance my rainwater and my irrigation and my consumption here.
Okay.
So, but it'll be a nice thing when I'm off the grid.
Yeah. Wow. That's when you talk about sustainability, I mean, that is it right there. I can't think of any other way.
Yeah, I practice sustainable architecture. In fact, one of the most interesting projects is my brother bought a Tesla, and he called me and he was bragging about his Tesla, and I said, I am going to disown you if you don't generate your own electricity to charge your own Tesla. You will not drain the grid and be my brother. I said, I won't have anything to do with it. He's in California.
Yeah.
So we designed his whole solar system and battery packs on the side of his house. So he comes home from work, plugs his Tesla in, uses his own electricity, gets up in the morning, depletes his batteries, gets up in the morning, unplugs it, and goes off to work. So he doesn't draw 1 kilowatt off of the grid. And so he gets a paycheck from Edison every month.
Wow.
Edison buys electricity from him.
From him.
Yeah.
While he drives around for free because he generated.
And that's become a real problem, not to get sidetracked here, but that's become a real problem in Southern California with these apartments because they don't have enough charging stations. And you have to get on a calendar. You might have to wait 2 weeks to charge your car because there are more units, more EVs than there are parking stations. So he just thanks me every time he sees me for
Well, yeah.
and it's all about it's pretty basic. It's all about sustainability.
Okay.
It's real simple.
Yeah.
It's real simple.
Again, we overcomplicate things sometimes. Right?
Exactly.
We take for granted these conveniences and things we have, but we don't think about the back end of where those come from.
Right.
And we think about the food that we have, the groceries we have, and all that. You just go to the store, you get these things. But what you did, just like with the winemaking, you just went back to the basics and just said, well, how did they do it back then? Let's do it that way. And now you're fully sustainable.
Yep. And we grow our own. I do a jalapeno vodka in my distillery, so we grow our own jalapeno. I do cilantro vodka. And we grow that. We grow our own basil too.
Yeah.
We're doing a basil vodka also, but I do that all sustainably too.
Interesting.
Yeah, I don't spray any pesticides.
Yeah. Well, you also mentioned to me beforehand that you were working with the geothermal stuff here. So tell me a little bit about that. What got that started?
In 1967, I built a house for myself. And I learned about geothermal, but I'm really a fan of the Indians and their sustainability. And a lot of the principles I use come from the Indians. They've been doing it for thousands of years. Mm-hmm. They knew what geothermal was, and they knew what sustainability was. That's why they built their cliff dwellings so that it was cool in the summer, and when the sun set in the winter, it picked up the winter rays, and so they were sustainable about site orientation, where they lived. Well, I said, I'm going to do that. And so I built my own geothermal. I was just right out of college, built my own geothermal by putting copper pipes on the back of a retaining wall, then backfilled it, and then circulated that water through rigid. I made, I don't know if I want to tell this whole story out to the public. They'll think I'm crazy, but studs have a space between them of 14¼ inches.
Right.
So I went to the junkyard and I wanted to get automobile radiators that fit in 14¼ They were Fiat Spiders. So I got a radiator and put it in every room, circulated the pipe through it, put a fan behind it, put a thermostat on top of it, and I was able to cool my house, which you really didn't need air conditioning in California where it was. It's right on the coast. But I was able to lower the temperature in the rooms by about 10 to 12 degrees. Wow. Just by that, by very basic. Then I had solar on the roof, so I wasn't consuming any electricity. Yeah. I've been in love with that ever since. And I, in my architectural practice in Dallas, we did schools and airports and big projects like that. And I did a school where we put 1,700 wells underneath the football field for geothermal.
Interesting.
Yeah. And that was a tough battle with the school board because they said, "You're not putting that under the football field." And I go, "Yeah, I am. Nobody's going to dig there." So we had every boring rig in northern Texas drilling wells.
Yeah.
Took them several months to drill 1,700 wells.
I bet.
But anyway, it proved to be very beneficial. And here, it's really great. It's real sustainable and real comfortable in here year round.
That's fascinating.
Yep.
Now, you talked about being an architect, and you spoke of your architecture and some of your training there. You also told me before we started that you were the architect for 30-something wineries here?
36 wineries in Texas I've designed.
Wow.
Most of them have been built.
Yeah.
There's about a third of them that haven't been built.
The tasting rooms and everything
Yeah.
that goes into that.
Yep.
Wow. Is that something that you want to share on the podcast or not?
Yeah, I've worked with a lot of wineries. You know, I did Flat Creek, I did Brennan, I did several others.
Nice. That's really
Cool. Yeah, I have done an episode out at Flat Creek. Beautiful.
But anyway, yeah, I've learned a lot about wineries and designed a lot of wineries. Done some gravity wineries. I did Pedernales Cellars. That was a gravity winery. They kind of modified it when they built it, but it turned out to be a nice winery.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And when I think about gravity, I also think about Valley Mills
Yeah.
Vineyard, who has a gravity-based system there in theirs, and it's kind of built into the side of the hillside there. Interesting, really cool stuff. Well, you're the only LEED certified winery in the state.
Well, we practice all their principles. You know,
Okay.
we wanted to be sustainable. It was a natural thing for us. We were doing it whether we were LEED certified or not. You know, we became very, very efficient and sustainable. But we just went through the process. It's quite a lengthy process.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
That's a big honor, though.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that leads to that full sustainability that you're working on
Right.
off the grid.
Right. And that'll be just one step beyond.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about what most people come here for, the wine. So I want to know a little bit about what you're growing and you mentioned 13 different varietals. What do you have out there now? You're going to replant some of the things.
Yeah, we are going to replant. The Syrah does real well here in this terroir.
Okay.
The Lenoir, you can practically ignore that. It just grows and produces year after year. And then the Touriga Nacional does really well. We have several barrels in here right now, Touriga Nacional. We use that for our port.
Yeah.
But I'm probably going to go back with Cabernet Sauvignon too.
Okay.
And everybody says don't plant Cabernet Sauvignon. In fact, Texas A&M told me not to plant Texas A&M. That was the first varietal I planted. It did great, but it didn't last. It died out. It died out. So did my Tempranillo, all my Tempranillo. But I'll replant Tempranillo, Cabernet Sauvignon, probably do Merlot and Malbec again.
Okay.
We specialize in big reds, the old world style reds, varietals. We did do a Viognier and we did do a Semillon. But I may plant Viognier again. That did pretty good here.
Yeah.
So, but we just do things that we can control in an old world style.
Yes.
You know, we don't want to get involved in any clones.
Too flashy, fancy there.
Don't want to do it. Not yet. Not yet. I know there's a lot of Pierce disease clones out there that they claim this and they claim that, but the quality hasn't been proven and nobody really knows.
Yeah.
So I'm just gonna wait and see.
Okay.
So it's the Caboose philosophy. Okay, I'm the last on the train. So anyway, we'll get there sooner or later. But we did have 13 varietals growing.
Okay. And do you produce all of those here on site?
We did.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, we don't really buy grapes, but I've still got 301 barrels of wine. So we tasted them not too long ago. You can see the dots on them on the barrels. And so we know what's going on.
Okay.
And we're about ready to start robbing barrels again next week and do some more bottling.
More bottling.
Yeah, because there's a lot of them that are maturing. They're all about, anywhere between 7 and 10 years old. I've got a couple that are older than that, but it's about time to pull them out and start bottling.
And do you do your crush and your tanks and everything here on site as well?
Yeah.
It is a full operation here.
Yeah, we do transport our wines to Clifton to bottle because we've got a bottling line down there.
Okay.
So we take it down there to bottle, and then we store down there and we distribute from there.
And you have a tasting room there in Clifton as well, right?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Yeah. Tell me about some of the varietals that you enjoy working with. What are your favorite varietal or varietals to work with?
Well, Tempranillo is a big one in Texas. It's a good wine. I like that. We do a lot of blending with Tempranillo. But my all-time favorite is Malbec.
Yeah.
Malbec is just an exquisite grape.
Yeah.
It's really good. Unfortunately, they all died, but we're going to be replanting them in the spring. But any of the reds, Syrah's dynamite. It'll blend well also.
Yeah.
Tempranillo and Cabernet Sauvignon. We won a Jefferson Cup in 2012.
Wow.
I think we might have been the first one to win a Jefferson Cup in 2012 with our '08 Cabernet Sauvignon. So we'd only been, that was a 3-year cab. That was a young one. So that kind of gave us the initiative to really go for it.
Okay.
So we were really proud of that one. And it's since won all kinds of awards.
Right.
And most of our cabs have, in fact, that's Melanie's favorite wine is our cab.
Okay.
So I want you to taste our cab before you leave.
Oh, definitely.
And Range Rider has been a good one. That's a Tempranillo.
Okay.
It's a Tempranillo Cab Franc blend, which is another really good blend. So the bad news is you're going to have to go to Clifton to taste that one because we just bottled it last week. We've been out for almost a year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is there a varietal that you have never worked with that you've always kind of thought, I kind of would like to try to work with that variety?
No, there's so many of them out there.
Yeah.
You know, I picked the favorite ones. I think we went out on a ladder. We did Tinta
Okay.
for the port because when we first got started, we wanted to produce the best port.
True level port.
True Portuguese old world style port. So we got the Touriga Nacional, we had the Tinta we put Linois in there.
Okay. Yeah.
And I may plant Tinta again. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because we want to continue to produce port.
What types of events or things like that do you do at the winery? I know you mentioned that there's a concert going on here in the vineyard tonight. But what types of things do y'all host out here?
We'll host anything.
Okay.
Come to us. We'll host it. We have a concert. We call it a Cork and Fork.
Okay.
We have a concert the last Saturday of every month from March to October, and that's tonight. Yeah. And then we do weddings. We do lots of parties. Okay. Reunions, family reunions, things like that. We had a couple celebrations of life here not too long ago. But we'll host anything. When we get our new tasting room and our restaurant done, we'll be able to do a lot more.
Yeah.
But and we sponsor 5K runs. That's been kind of interesting.
So like the wine run and things like that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I actually did the wine run several years back.
Did you?
Yeah. It's the only 5K I've ever run. And the only reason I did it is because they said you got a glass of wine at the finish line. I said, hey, I'll get up and run for that.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, that's exactly what happened. And they love it here because we've got 200 acres.
Oh, wow.
And I took them on the back side of the ranch and they said, oh, we can do 10Ks and we can do trail runs here. So they've got another one planned for October and then they're going to do trail runs on the back side of the ranch. It's really beautiful, really beautiful back there.
Yeah. This is such a beautiful area out here as well in Meridian. I didn't even realize there's a state park and Meridian Lake and all that out there as we were coming in. I loved the drive in with all the trees over the road. It's picturesque.
Yeah.
Just I told my wife, I said it with the bluebonnets too at this time of year. I said, I feel like I'm in a painting of the Texas countryside as I was coming in the road.
Yeah, we're
here.
coming into a real pretty time of year.
Yeah, it's beautiful. Well, let's say that one of my viewers or some of my viewers are getting excited and want to come out and check out Red Caboose. So let's talk about what it looks like when they come. What does a tasting look like? So when a customer comes in and they want to do a wine tasting, do you have a set flight of wines that you give them, or does the customer choose their wines, or what does that look like?
Okay, we have a pretty good gamut of wines. We make 21 different wines, so you can pick from any of those. Any 5 you can pick.
Okay.
So we'll open them up if we don't have them open.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What does a tasting cost?
$15.
Okay.
Yeah.
15 for 5?
15 for 5.
That's a great deal. Do they need reservations?
No, you can call. Right now we're only open on Saturdays.
Okay.
But that's soon going to change. But you can call.
Okay.
Yeah. You don't need reservations. You can show up. We're dog friendly. We're family friendly.
Okay.
You know, you just bring your kids.
Yeah.
Bring your dog.
Day out of it.
Bring your picnic blanket. Do whatever. We have people bring their own chairs or blanket and they sit out on the lawn and have their own little picnic.
Do you provide any kind of food options, or can
We
people
do
bring their own food?
charcuterie trays.
Okay.
Yeah.
Can people bring their own food in
Oh yeah,
if
yeah,
they wanted
yeah.
to do that?
Yeah, certainly.
Okay.
Yep.
What about maximum group sizes? Do you have any maximums you'd like to know, or be notified ahead of time if a big group's coming, or things like that?
We like to keep it 100 to 120 or less.
Yeah.
Or less. And the only reason is because we have our bathrooms. We have limited bathrooms.
Okay.
We've got plenty of parking, plenty of space, plenty of wine, plenty of seats, but we don't have plenty of toilets.
Okay. Yeah.
That's another reason why I want to get that restaurant done, because we're building toilets out there.
Well, tell me a little bit about that project, the restaurant and the bed and breakfast and all that.
Yeah, we will do a bed and breakfast. We have an RV park. We have 12 spaces, and then I have another 12 spaces roughed in that we're probably going to do tiny houses. And you can come camping here anytime you want. Just call us and say, hey, can we camp on them for the weekend?
So primitive camping.
Yeah. Tent camping. We've had people come out here, and the stars are beautiful because we're in one of the darkest spots in Texas.
Really?
And we've had people come out here and sleep in the back of their pickup trucks just to see the stars.
So really?
And Haley's Comet is coming, I think, in about a month.
Okay.
And we're going to plan an event for that.
Ooh, that would be neat.
Yeah. And, but yeah, we're camping friendly. We're on several different camp apps.
Yes.
So you can come, bring your trailer, bring whatever, camp in the tent.
And you're building a restaurant? Is that
Yeah.
here?
Oh, I'm sorry.
But,
Yeah,
no,
that
you're
was the
good.
question. Yes, we're building a restaurant out front. It'll be a combination restaurant and tasting room.
Okay.
And it'll seat about 100 people.
Okay.
And of course, we'll have restrooms.
Right.
Or restrooms.
There you go. You got the extra space that you need.
All right.
What are your busier and slower seasons? What's the best time to come visit?
Anytime you want. We really don't have, I mean, around Black Friday, you know, after people shop, that weekend seems to be a good weekend. Thanksgiving seems to be a good weekend because all the people come down to their ranches and they bring their family and their friends.
Yeah.
So the day after Thanksgiving is always pretty busy.
Okay.
But anytime we're open. We don't really close on Saturdays. We're open all Saturdays.
Okay.
Now we have closed a couple times when it was, you know, freezing and snowing and everything, but we put a sign on the gate and have them go to Clifton to our other days.
My next question.
Yeah. Clifton is open Thursday through Sunday.
Okay. So you got another tasting room there that
Yes.
people could go to experience things.
Yes, and that's where the distillery is. Also.
Okay. Got you. So you got a wine club.
Right.
Tell me a little bit about your wine club. How do people join, and what are the benefits of that wine club?
You can go online. You get discounts. You get a free glass of wine when you come in. You can bring friends. And the main thing is we have wine clubs parties 4 times a year, the wine club pickup parties. And we always try and do something special with that. The last one, I think I mentioned earlier to you, we did barrel robbing.
Okay.
And they love that.
Yeah.
I love barrel robbing. And it's really good too for me because I use them all as canaries in the coal mine. You know, which one should I bottle next?
Exactly.
Yeah, they go, oh, we like this one. We like this. They liked all of them.
It's a live focus group.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what it is. And so, yeah, we bottled all 4 of them that they picked. Yeah.
That's awesome. And that's great because it gives your wine club members a feeling of ownership and part of it. I picked that one. This bottle is one that I said to
And
be.
when we bottle it, we'll have another party, another wine club party, and we will release it to them first.
Okay.
So it's kind of a continuity of ownership throughout the process.
What about any kind of distribution? Are you in places that people could buy outside of the winery? Or do you sell on your website?
Not at the moment. We sell on the website.
Okay, good.
You can do the website. You can buy it here. You can buy it in Clifton, but we no longer have a distributor.
Okay. No.
By choice, we no longer have a distributor.
We've kind of already touched on this just a little bit, but do you have plans for future growth beyond the restaurant and the replanting of the vines? What ideas do you have? The sustainability is one of those things, or being off the grid. But do you have other kind of plans for growth or things you'd like to see Red Caboose do?
Well, hopefully we can get more developed here. We're going to move the Caboose up here. That'll be part of the bed and breakfast. We're going to expand our RV park. We're going to build tiny houses. We're going to really concentrate on the restaurant because in this area there's limited places to eat.
Okay.
And so we're going to expand upon that, and hopefully we'll have more of a bed and breakfast. So I may build little cabins on the back side of the ranch also.
Okay.
It's very, very, very pretty back there.
Yeah, it's a beautiful ranch.
Yeah.
Well, there are a lot of great places in Texas that people can go to drink great wine. Red Caboose is one of those. So can you tell me, in your opinion, what do you think really sets Red Caboose apart that would make people say, I've got to get there as soon as I can?
people always comment on the feel of our wine in their mouth.
Okay.
Not, the aroma's great. Otherwise, we wouldn't put it in the bottle. The flavor's there, but they taste something different.
Yeah.
And that's because our wine viscosity is different because we don't filter for clarity.
Yeah.
Because I mentioned earlier the old books at the half-price bookstore. I'll give them a plug. Any bookstore. I learned, and I haven't learned this at too many of the seminars that I've been to. Bottle clarification is the last phase of filtering. We store our bottles upside down. So when you go over there to taste our wine, look at the shoulder on the bottle. You will see botanicals stuck there. They're not down on the bunt.
Yeah.
Because we store our bottles upside down. They're right there. And that's the last phase of bottle clarification. So our wine is thicker. So, and a lot of times there will be some particles in the bottom of the glass and people will say, what is this? And I said, that's what nature wants you to have.
That's right.
Those are botanicals that need to be in the wine. And the first time we filtered our reds, the filter pads were just unbelievably red. And I looked at my son and I said, shouldn't this be in the wine?
Yeah.
This is color and flavors. Shouldn't this be in the wine? And we looked at it and we researched it, and to a certain degree, yes. But if your wine is bad and you're trying to fix it, you're going to filter it.
Yeah.
That's one way. You're going to filter it, then you're going to add things. That's another way. Then you're going to filter, and maybe it gets good, maybe it doesn't get good. But we're the philosophy that you just have to do it the old world way.
Okay.
How'd they do it before electricity? And that's what we do. We do it to this day, and people can tell the difference. The other thing is some of our wines have no sulfites in them.
Okay.
Wines will generate their own sulfites, and there's a lot of sulfites added during the process, but we don't add that.
Okay.
So, and people recognize that too, and they'll come back to us. In fact, we have a customer in Oklahoma, and she comes down here to buy cases of our wine. When she goes down to Houston, she comes by us and she buys a case of wine. Wow. She goes, ours is the only red wine that she can drink.
Interesting.
Yeah. So anyway, our wines are different, and people recognize that they're different. You can market that all day long, say, hey, our wines are great, they're tasty, we make old world wine, but really that doesn't go very far. You have to taste it to really experience. And you can set up 10 glasses of wine from 10 different wineries, and you can tell of the same varietal, you can tell the difference. And people know that.
Yeah.
So.
Well, looking back over our conversation, what really stuck out to me was Gary's commitment and dedication to letting the wine clarify and mature naturally over many years, resulting in a wine that has a unique old world viscosity that you just do not find in commercial wine production. Now, make sure you check out their website before you go to visit them. It's www.redcaboosewinery.com. And on their website, you can read about their 2 tasting room locations. Gary mentioned that in the interview. They have a tasting room at their vineyard where I visited there in Meridian. And they also have just down the road in Clifton, another tasting room. That's where he has his distillery as well. And on that website, you can shop for his wines. You can check out the latest events and what's going on there. And you can also sign up for their mailing list if you'd like to. And don't forget, when you go to see them, make sure you tell them you heard about them on this podcast, Texas Under Vine. All right, now the time has come for our Wine Wanderer reveal. So today's episode library selection was the 2007 Syrah. Now, I've got 2 things to say about this particular wine. Syrah. I love Syrah. Syrah has always been one of my favorite wines. It's got such deep, dark notes to it. Very fruity in nature, but you get this kind of current of spice that runs through it. It's just a really elegant wine from the southern French region, the southern Rhone especially. And I just love Syrah. So you already had me at that. But did you see that vintage date? 2007. You didn't read it wrong. 2007. This wine is 19 years old. So It's amazing to see a wine go this far back. You're not going to go to many tasting rooms, if any, that I can think of in Texas and get wine from this vintage. So that just is a tribute to what he's doing in the vineyard and what he's doing in the cellar to be able to age these wines for such a long period of time and then make those available. So this is really cool. I was just so fascinated with being able to drink a great wine that was from 2007. This wine is a testament, not only to Gary's patience, but to the ageability of Texas wine. Aged for many years in oak without being opened up so that it kind of forms a vacuum inside of the barrel that causes the wine to mature beautifully. It's an amazing example of how Syrah can age and develop beautifully when treated with that old world respect. You got to make sure that you get a bottle and try some of that when you go to visit them. All right, now that we've explored those wines and the sustainability there at Red Caboose Winery, it's time to hit the tracks and roll on down to our next Texas wine destination station. And if you're loving these stories from the vineyard, from these amazing people on these episodes, please support the show on Patreon. Just go to my website, www.texasundervine.com, and click on the Become a Patron link at the top to get a lot of extras for just a little bit of support every month. And don't forget, this podcast is a visual podcast. So although you may be listening in the car on audio, the main version of this podcast is video based. So it can be found on YouTube. If you haven't checked out the visual versions of these podcasts, make sure and go to YouTube and my channel there at Texas Under Vine and check it out. And don't forget to like, follow, and subscribe while you're there. And while you're there watching the video on YouTube, run down to the comments real quick. I want to know something. So answer this question for me. Tell me if you have some sort of a lifelong hobby or interest, kind of like Gary with his train collection, that you've been able to incorporate into your lifelong story. Let me know down in the comments. And once again, a huge shout out to the supporters on Patreon who help keep this journey through the Texas vines moving forward. And with that, my time is up. So don't forget, subscribe to the podcast and follow my socials to be notified anytime a new episode is released. And until then, happy trails and bottoms up, y'all.
Thanks for listening to Texas Under Vine. We strive to provide you with the best information about wine businesses all over Texas. Be sure to check out our website at texasundervine.com and follow us on our socials at Texas Under Vine to stay up on all the upcoming episodes. Please email us with any suggestions or feedback. Also, contact us if you're interested in donating, sponsoring, or advertising on the podcast, just to help us cover our expenses and bring even more great info to you in future episodes. Above all, travel safely, and most especially, drink responsibly.
Howdy, Vine Trippers. Before we go, I wanted to direct you to my website, www.texasundervine, because there you're going to find a whole host of things. Besides access to the audio versions and the video versions of the podcast, you can also get those on any podcast provider and then the video on YouTube. But there you're going to find a couple of things. Did you know that I actually sold some Texas Under Vine merchandise? I only have a handful of items available, about 5 different things, but they are up on my store. So if you go to the website, texasundervine.com, and go to the top, you're going to see a link for the merchandise store. And there you can get your own Texas Under Vine swag to proudly show all of your friends that you support the Texas wine industry, and you can get them started on and hooked on the podcast as well, so they can go visit even more of these great wine destinations. But in addition to the store, I also have a Patreon for my subscribers, people that support this show. I do this all out of a work of love from my heart. I do not make any money on this podcast. I'm actually in the red because I support it all out of my own pocket as a teacher. And it's mainly because I love wine and I love the Texas wine industry. So if you're willing to help me do that and you'd like to see more of these great episodes, hear more from these amazing winemakers, learn more about some fun destinations for you to go and visit on your own, I would appreciate if you would be willing to subscribe to my Patreon. So at the top of my website page, again, you'll find a Become a Patron link. And there you can get all the information about becoming a subscriber to the podcast, podcast here as a Patreon subscriber. It only costs a few dollars a month if you're willing to commit that. And there are various levels that you can commit to that each give you behind the scenes benefits that you don't get. And I do have some new things in the pipeline coming down soon. So you want to get on that sooner than later. But right now you can get things like behind the scenes photos at different wineries. You can get things like at one level, you'll get a video walkthrough of the winery. So for every episode, I will post a video walkthrough of me taking you through the winery itself so you can see what it's like before you go. And then at one level, you can even find out before everyone else where I'm headed the next week on the show as it comes out. So you'll know before everyone else. You get a sneak peek. So there's just different levels of benefits, and they all cost a different amount. And as you subscribe, you become the heart of this podcast. You really are what helps me succeed. You are my community and my people. And thank you so much for those that do subscribe. So if you're interested in joining Patreon, check the Become a Patron link at the top of the website. So again, the website is www.texasundervine.com. You can also go to all of my socials. I'm at Texas Undervine on almost all the social accounts. And check it out and consider sponsoring the podcast and maybe even buying some of that really cool swag on the merchandise store. Happy trails and bottoms up, fine trippers.